Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. To all the listeners in the United States, Norway, South Korea, Sweden, Ghana, Bahrain, Canada, and Dominican Republic. Get ready. Looking at my watch, it's about that time. For the reset, yes, it's going down. Get them preconceived notions up out of your mind before we look in the book and see what we can find. It's talk one talk, yeah, we stay on the grind. This a light of mine, I'ma let that shine. For sure, ain't no more blind leading the blind. We let the word be true, everybody else lying. They crying precept upon precept, jumping all over the scripts. We don't teach that, giving nothing but context when we read that. If the doctrine don't line up, we don't preach that. Misinterpretations, you gotta peep that. Bad translations, where my EV at? All that debating, you could keep that. Study with us, mess around and hit your reset. 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 It's the reset button. Season 4. Open your Bibles up to the book of Jeremiah.
The creator of all things, we give thanks to you. The eternal and everlasting wisdom. Teach us your ways. All the days of our life. And keep us on one accord, with your spirit. Shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Shama of his taught ones, one half of the panelists. Let me know if you hear me. Yedidyah, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, man. Before we get started, that song was hands down, or is hands down, the best intro song we had, y'all. I don't know if y'all agree with me. Before we get started, man, I would love for people to press 1 and give us your thoughts of the the new music, the new prayer, any of that, man. But look, I'm taking my hat off. I don't have one on, but I'm taking my hat off to the real, a.k.a. Yedidyah, a.k.a. Yedidyah. Man, lava, not even fire, lava. We got two people in the queue. I apologize. We got two people in the queue. I'm going to bring you in. And we're going to get started shortly, but I do want to hear people's thoughts. Season 4, we are here. 612-275. You are live.
Hey, shalom, shalom. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, sister.
I am in love. Like, I thought I was tripping. I was like, is it have not been missing some intros or something? I'm like, I ain't never heard that before. I thought I was like, I felt like, wait a minute, where have I been? Yedidyah, love it, love it, love it, loved it. I was in here like, yes, tell them. Y'all, my spirit, I've been missing y'all so much. That song right there, yes, the prayer, I thought I've been missing something. Because the prayer, I was like, I ain't never heard that before. Who is that? Who was that? Who gave the prayer? Who gave the prayer?
I did.
Man.
Shama telling me though.
Love it. Shama, I love y'all. I was just telling somebody, I invited somebody today to listen. I was just telling somebody, I love them too, like real flesh brothers. I love y'all. It was hot. Both of them was dope. I love both of them. I'm like, Shama, that was lava. It was, I want it. I don't even listen to too much music, but I love y'all music. So I'm just going to stop bragging and boasting on my brothers because I love y'all. But if it even one of my brothers and someone else was bringing that intro, that was hot. I'm loving it. So hats off to y'all.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. I'm going to bring the next call in. Thank you for that, sis. Shalom, shalom. 573-433, you are live. 573, I believe it's Jeff. We can't hear you if you're speaking. I believe it's Jeff.
Shalom. Had to get the phone open up there, but can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, shalom, everyone. And I just want to echo exactly what Sister just said, Hoffman just said. Excellent. I really wasn't expecting it either. That's what made it even better. And like you said, sis, actually been waiting for this moment because kind of like missed the show these last 2 weeks. I know Brother Yedidyah came on and gave us a reminder that we would be here this Shabbat, but I definitely enjoyed the intro and the prayer, and I like how both panelists can actually show that they have talent in both areas, so I like that part of it. So last time you had the intro song and Brother Yedidyah had the prayer, and now you all switch it up on it. So great way to start this season off, and I'm looking forward to enter into the book of Jeremiah. That's all I had, and thank you all. Glad to be back.
Appreciate that, Brother Jeff. I'm going to bring you off, and I'm going to allow the superstar to come on, man. Brother Jeff, press 1 if you can, so we'll know you want to come back in. But Yedidyah, a.k.a. Yedidyah, a.k.a. It's the Real. You got the floor.
Shalom. Yeah, man, I'm excited to be here, man. It's been a long wait, or it seemed like a long wait. But the day has finally arrived, so praise the Creator for that. And I'm just blessed to be here, man, in good health. I was facing some allergies, symptoms real bad within those weeks off. I'm doing a little bit better. I guess I could say a lot better than I was. But I'm just ready to get into this book of Jeremiah and see what everybody has to bring to the table, see what you got. I saw some very interesting things off the bat. So I think this book is going to be very powerful to read in context. I've read it in the past, just here and there. I've heard it, as I said in the intro song, jumping all over the scripts. But, we don't teach that. So we're going to go through this thing contextually. I'm ready to do it. And that's all I have for now until we get into the content of the book.
All right. Appreciate that. I'm excited, man. We finally got out of the book of Yeshayahu or Yeshaya, Isaiah. Now we're in Jeremiah. So just a little background before we get started. Some things that some who are listening might not know, or you might know. But Yirmiyahu or Jeremiah was under one of my favorite Melechim, kings, Josiah. Actually, in the time of Josiah, for those of you that might not know, we try to, like he said, bring some context in it, give you a little timeline. Me, myself, over these couple of years, we've been doing this. That's one of the things I like the most out of what we're doing, and out of especially Yedidyah, what he does with the timeline of history. So I'm looking forward to what he's going to perform. But he was on one of my favorite kings, a king that restored the temple, its purpose, righteously, and its previous glory, because for him himself, he really didn't have the understanding on certain things, and it was presented to him, revealed to him. So he brought it to his people, as we should do. When we learn something, we should bring it, especially if it's ordained or set forth by the Creator itself or himself. Then we are supposed to present it, and that's what he did. So Yirmiyahu was actually in the time of Josiah. One of the things that I came across, we're going to more than likely come across if it is true, because what we also do is we go through it, like he said, contextually. So we don't jump forward. We try not to. We try our best from preconceived. So when we're reading it, we might have an idea or we might know what's to come. But for the sake of the listeners and for the sake of ourselves and for the sake of the purpose of what we're doing, we literally want to go in context, in real time of what's happening. So, but one of the things I brought found interestingly, it says that Yirmiyahu was opposed. Now, mind you, I guess we're going to find out what this means, what I'm about to read. But it says Yirmiyahu or Jeremiah was opposed by false prophets who insisted that night was day and day was interesting. What does that mean? I don't know. I guess we'll find out if it's a metaphor or if it's a literal meaning. Then another thing I wrote down was the masses always hungry for reassurance and outraged at Yirmiyahu's refusal to say the popular thing. We saw a little bit of that in the past. We saw how they always was hungry for reassurance. Always, Yisrael, always hungry for it. And that hunger did something. And we're gonna go through that. We're gonna hopefully come across that within these few chapters. So with that being said, before we go to the very first chapter, and I didn't speak on this with the brother, so I'm not going to do one of the things I really don't like. So I'll take the first chapter, unless he wants the first chapter. But before we go into it, I don't know if you wanted anything to say before we get started in the chapter, so I'm gonna shut my mic and let you take over. And then let me know if you want the first chapter, and you can take it. If not, then I'll take it.
I don't have anything additional to add. As far as the chapter go, if you want to, I don't know if you want to do it how we were doing it, just, give a little bit here, and then the next person jump in with a few points, and we just kind of do a dialogue thing. I'm fine with that. And you can start it.
Okay, cool. Well, in this chapter, my basic summary of this chapter is an introduction of Yirmiyahu or Jeremiah. This is an introductional point from what I see of who he is, and that's one of the things I kind of love about the prophets. These books of the prophets, it does give you a little historical background of them. We do perhaps, and I say that lightly, but perhaps definitely should go into history ourselves to get a little further understanding of who they are, what was their purpose, and what time was their purpose, or for what time was their purpose. So it gives you a little background of Yirmiyahu or Jeremiah at the beginning point. One of the key things I love, and I'm sure one of us are going to bring out when we actually go through the points, is Jeremiah was young. You know, can you imagine? And some of you probably are going through it now, you know, depending on what level of understanding you have in life or pertaining to whatever it is you do. If you are someone that's studying this literature, then you're probably someone that does that as far as life too. So it's like to have this weight on you at a young age, if you're young, or I mean, we're all young, you know, we're not 70 or something like that. But to have this weight on you and you know people are going to be opposed to it, as I just read how they were opposing him. It's mind-boggling. It's stressful, you know, but let alone being young. So that stuck out to me in this chapter. Just a little summary behind it. It stuck out to me and the things that he had to bring forth. So that's my sum, nothing major.
Okay, yeah, I don't really have too much to add. I like the fact that you brought up the background of the speaker, which is Yirmiyahu, and I think that's important, you know, just to kind of know, and also for us to know who the speaker is at this current point of this narrative that we're getting into. Another thing, just to add on the background of Jeremiah, is that he's the son of Hilkiah, and he's one of the priests in the territory of Benjamin. So that just lets you know that, you know, where what's his territory, what's his location of doing the work that he does as a prophet. And so with that being said, we didn't kind of hit on this when we went over it in Kings, in the 2 book of Kings that we went over. There was a time where the kingdom of Israel had split. So you have a northern kingdom, you have a southern kingdom. The southern kingdom consists of 2 tribes, Benjamin being one and Judah being the other one, and they reside in Jerusalem. The 10 tribes is the northern kingdom. So I think that's important to know just off the bat before we even really start diving into this. And like I'll emphasize on those things when it's brought up within these chapters. But I think that's just some foreknowledge that we need to know moving into it. And so, you know, Jeremiah is, you know, his location is within the southern kingdom, which is with Judah, where the kings are. As Brother Shama stated, he was under Josiah, one of his favorite kings. So that's all I add for now. We can move forward from there.
Okay. You go ahead and kick off your first point. We can switch it up, and then I'll come behind you, if that's okay with you.
Oh, that's fine. So I guess this is not so much of a point, but just, you know, how you talked about the timeline thing. So verse 2 and 3, it kind of gives us a timeline. As you stated, in the days of, and it has a list of kings through verses 2 and 3, if you read it. I'm not going to go through each individual king, but that gives us a timestamp of when Jeremiah was prophesying. And also, you know, it starts, like it said, during the days of Josiah, so that's the first king they name. If you go back into the book of Kings, you'll see where his kingdom or his kingship falls. So you'll kind of know. And then it goes all the way to the time that Jerusalem went into exile in the 5th month. That's in verse 3, at the end of verse 3. So that is the time stamp of when Jeremiah was doing his work and of this narrative. So that's my first point that I wanted to make.
Okay. That's a good point right there, and I like that you brought that out. Like I said, I love the fact that it gives this period of time, and I think it's important for those of us that are part of his taught ones, or anyone that's not even a part of his taught ones, anyone that studies his literature or reads it. I prefer the word study. That we have an understanding of these timelines, because it'll help us if we go further. So you brought out 1 and 2. I wanted to bring out verse 4. I wanted to bring it out, and I'm going to bring, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm going to bring a different perspective as though. Can you hear me?
As though you know what I'm going to say?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm going to find out, though.
I do have a point
4,
for those verses, though, 4 and 5. So we'll see.
Okay, so I'm just gonna bring out verse 4 then. Well, actually, no, it is 4 and 5. You're right. So the word of Yah came to me. I'm reading from the Stones edition. I got a few different versions, but I'm gonna read this one. The word of Yah came to me, saying, "Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, and before you left the womb, I sanctified you. I established you as a prophet unto the nations." I established you a prophet unto the nations. Now, I'm okay for correction. Anybody that's listening, and of course, Yedidyah. One of the things he pointed out was that Yirmiyahu is the son of Hilkiah, and of the Kohanim, the priests, who were in Anathoth, right, in the land of Benjamin. I want to backtrack. I'm going to bring 2 people, and the 2 people I want to bring forth and correct me is Shimshon, Samson, and Samuel. Samuel's parents. Well, Samuel. Well, let me go forth with Shimshon first. Samson's was said to be a Levite, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me before I go forward. Yedidyah, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm gonna have to look at it. So
fact check that.
Yeah.
Okay. So why everyone's fact checking? Sorry, Samson, Levite, right? Samuel, Levite. Fact check that too. So he said, "Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, and before you left the womb, I sanctified you." In the traditions that they operate in, one of the ways of sanctifying the child, now he said, "I established you as a prophet unto the nations," but he said, "Before in the belly I knew you, and before you left the womb, I sanctified you." Do you remember what took place when Shimshon, before he was born, excuse me, everyone, he was sanctified? Why was he sanctified? It was something that the parents had to do to ensure that he was basically what the Most High had prepared for him to do. But they had to do something specific. They had to operate specifically in a certain manner. Okay, when you go to Samuel, his mom and his dad operated in a certain fashion before he became who he was. It was a certain way, certain acts they had to apply. And then even when he was born, it was a certain quote-unquote tradition that he had to do and learn under Eli, right? So what what I'm seeing from a different perspective, or maybe a more culturistic or culture standpoint understanding, is when he's saying that I knew you, and before you left the womb, I sanctified you. It is not the same way that we look at it today. And I'm saying contextual. I do this. I'm not gonna go forward as far as scripture is concerned, but I want to bring out the way that we use that. We say he knew us in the womb, sanctified us, blah blah blah. We use the scripture, and we forget the context and culture behind it. And if I am correct, which you all can fact check me, and I'm willing to be corrected, I see a certain way that they operate. I see that he did something specifically, or brought something forth specifically to the parents that they had to do in order to make sure this child was sanctified. Steps. And last thing I'm gonna say about this, and I'm gonna pass it on, is this to this day it actually is believed in Hebrew culture, even though this is Second Temple Jews, they still believe the same thing, because we, might have some differences in beliefs, but the principles are close to the same in certain aspects. That in order for the child to be in this light, the parents had to be, I wrote it down, living a pure and holy life, or sanctify or separate a life. And when you look at Shimshon's parents, what they had to do something different. And then when you look at Samuel's parents, they definitely did something different. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're both derived from priests, or from the, that's all I have.
Yeah, that was good. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I think you did an awesome job covering it. The only thing I wanted to say, coming, like you said, from a different perspective, or I just want to give one of them little aha moments, I guess. And what that is that just in simplicity, this for me was an example of how the Lord, or Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, sees his chosen humans, chosen vessels as humans. And simply all that is that a selection, or being chosen, in this instance, and I'm pretty sure in other instances, is viewed that it comes before a person's physical existence. So, we know Jeremiah is not like some demigod or nothing like that. We haven't heard allegations of that. So we know he's human. He's just a regular person like you and I. And but yet it's saying before he was born, before his physical existence, he was chosen. So that's one of the things that I think people don't take into consideration, maybe, when they think about certain things or certain narratives. But for me, this just stood out to me. And I think it's very important to consider this when you read into other narratives, to know that someone like Jeremiah was selected or chosen before his physical existence. So in your mind, then you ask yourself, well, what does that mean? And then you go from there. So that's all I got as a point for that one. I don't know if you want me to go ahead and jump into another point, and then you come behind me on that one.
Yeah, we could swap it like that. But before you go, I wanted to comment on what you said. I think that was excellent, and I want to bring something out. Like when he said he has a different perspective, I think we all definitely have different perspectives. But the funny thing and the great thing about objective perspectives is they still coincide. Like even what he said, that's perfect. To me. Someone else it could be not perfect, but it still lines up. It still brings forth the other piece of what we need, what he presented, what I didn't present. And, so that was good stuff, man. Go ahead, and I'll come in right after you.
Cool. Next thing I wanted to look at or address is in verse 9. It says, the Lord put out his hand, and I'm reading from the Sepharia. The Lord put out his hand and touched my mouth. And the Lord said to me, herewith I put my words into your mouth. All right, if y'all recall, we talked about this during the time, I believe it was Devarim, Deuteronomy, where the Most High said there would be a prophet like unto Moses. I will put my words in his mouth, so on and so forth. I also showed within that about Joshua and kind of linked that. But also I just wanted to, with this, I referenced that because just the whole thing about putting my words in your mouth. So there's numerous of people that came after Moshe, Joshua being one, and there's a few others that I know just off the top of my head that the Most High said he put his words in his mouth. So this is nothing, I guess, to say of the. It's not unordinary for someone to have the Most High's words in their mouth. It's not exclusive to nobody from what I'm seeing. It's like whoever is the Most High's servant at that time that is to speak to the people, he puts his words in their mouth. And this, for me, was a perfect reference for that argument. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see it again. But I just wanted to bring that out, that the Most High, after he said, even if you don't want to say that Joshua was who was being referenced in Devarim, we do see that somebody in the text has come along after that was said, and the Most High is saying that he's putting his words in his mouth. So I guess I'll leave that right there for y'all to think on, meditate on. But that's it.
Man, I tell you, good stuff. That was my next point too. I'm just going to add to it, really not take too much from it at all, because I'm going to bring verse 8 in. But before I bring verse 8 in, I want to say something that he brought out something important. When you look at the Devarim, like he brought out, and he pointed out Joshua, or Yeshua, or Yehoshua, I'm sorry, Joshua. One of the things that we haven't said in a while is we see something with the Most High, and I'm not talking about change not. I'm talking about we see something consistent in how he operates with his people. We also see a difference in the people too. When we look at Moshe, we see it was his character and his the way he operated was different from Aharon, his brother, and the way his sister, like their faith or belief or their whatever you want to call it, was different. It was a different way of how they operated. What am I getting at? Where am I getting at? I'm looking down at the text. When you look at Yirmiyahu, it says, do not fear them. Verse 8. Do not fear them. I wanted to point that out. For I am with you to rescue you. Okay, the word of Yah. Then you come to verse 9 and it says, then Yah extended his hand and touched my mouth. And Yah said to me, behold, I have placed my words in your mouth, like he said. One of my favorite people of Elohim or God or Yah is Elisha. And we went through that. Elisha operated in a sense and to where it seemed like he didn't even acquire or inquire of the Most High. You know, so what's my point when I'm saying they differ, the people? It seemed as though Elisha, even though he wasn't in the context, is not the same situation. He wasn't about to be dealing with people as though, or in the same sense of Yirmiyahu, because he's telling Yirmiyahu not to fear because these people are coming to oppose. They're going to, it's about to get heavy. So I'm not going to go forward, but that's what we read, you know, or what I presented a little earlier. But what I'm trying to say is we see that Elisha, he operated, you know, with the power of the Most High and things that he did. If you all are not aware with it, please go back and check it out. That was the person that was under Elijah, that came right after Elijah. So he had a sense of knowing that, hey, I'm about to speak this. This is what's going to happen because, you know, though it did not say that the Most High put his words in his mouth, but what I can attest to what Yedidyah is saying is that most of these men and or women of God or Yah knew this. They went with the words that they spoke came from them. It's a consistency thing. The people of God, people of Elohim or Yah, they all operated in this fashion. They got their words, the power of the Most High through the Most High. So it's nothing new. So that's all I wanted to point out. I was long-winded. I guess did you want to say anything before I go to my next point?
Nah, you good. Go ahead and proceed.
All right. Okay, I wanted to go down to, although I want to go from 14 to 16, hopefully you have something in there. I'm going to pick something different. I want to go down to verse 18 through 19, but I'll probably just stop at 18. So 18 reads, "For behold, I have set you this day as a fortified city, an iron pillar and copper walls against the entire land, against the kings of Yehudah or Judah, against its leaders, against its priests, and against the people of the land." So a little context behind it. Verse 17 says, "And as for you, you should gird your loins and get up and speak to them all that I command you. Do not be frightened of them, lest I let you be broken before them." So it kind of goes into verse 8. He's telling them to get up. He's telling Jeremiah to get up. Do this. Speak to them what I command, no matter what. You have to stand for what I have presented to you. You have to. So he's telling him to be fortified. If anyone and one of you knows, I'm pretty sure everyone on here knows what that means, but you are going to be strong. Be strong. Do not allow it. Because if you do, then it's not that, and this is Shama speaking, I'm not putting words in the Most High's mouth or the book, but this is the perception that I see when I'm reading this. If you do, it's not that I'm about to put this stuff against you and just make you fall. You're going to fall because you did not choose what has fortified you. You did not choose this. So in essence, it's not that you're falling because I'm making you fall. You're falling because you're not choosing the strongest position that was set forth, that I created for you. That is why you're falling. So most people say, well, yeah, you're falling because the Most High is making you fall. Well, I can agree with that. I'm not against that. But at the same time, you're falling because of this. If you're walking down the street right now and you're going, and it's a big old curve or whatever, if you don't lift your foot on that curve, you're going to trip your legs is the functioning of your leg and your mind connection is to lift that foot and go. That was set in place by the creator of the world that created you. So I have told you what to do. I have put in place. You are going to be fine. But if you do not listen, then this is what's going to happen to you. Not more so because I'm putting it on you, because I've placed in front of you what it is for your success. It's because you did not go through with it. It's because you did not lift your foot over that curve when I gave you the tools to lift your foot over that curve. That's all I got for that one.
Okay, I'm a kind of bag up a little bit, and I'm gonna bag up to 10 and go back down to 18. And so, with those verses, what I saw in my study, I saw it as a base foundation of the plot or theme of Jeremiah's narrative. And so within that plot and that theme or theme, it was two things that I really saw in the foundation. One, that Jeremiah was appointed over nations and kingdoms. And that's in verse 10 that said. So he was appointed over these nations and kingdoms. So we got to really get into what does that really mean. So as the narrative continues, we should be able to grow from that foundation of what is really being said or how is he being appointed over nations and kingdoms. And then secondly, he was to speak against the people of Judah, as Shama stated earlier when he was going through his point. And that's in verse 17 to 18, as he read those two, so I don't have to read them. But you see what it said. He's to speak against the people of Judah. And it's not just the kings. His version said it pretty much how mine is, but mine is just a little different, so I'm going to render what mine says. It says, against Judah's kings and officers and against his priests and citizens. So that's the whole kingdom. That's from the top to the bottom. The citizens as well.
That's
so
right.
That includes everybody. Ain't nobody off the hook. And so we're going to see what it is that he's going to speak against them as we move forward into the next two chapters. That's all I got for this entire chapter.
All right. Same with me. That was my last point. Before we go forward to the next chapter, this is the point or the part of the study where we want those that's listening to come on and say something, whether it's a comment, a question, a thought, which is a comment. This is your time to come on and speak. If you will, we just ask that you keep it at a timely fashion, for the sake of the duration of the show. But we do want everyone's input, thoughts, or questions, because we're all trying to learn and grow together. So give you a few moments or a few seconds, to come in. Just press 1. If you have something to say, press 1. All right, in the famous words of Yedidyah, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, go ahead and I'll let you, if you would like to, start off or kick off the next chapter, Yedidyah, with a summary and or your points, and we can go from there.
All right, for me, I'm going to start off with a summary for this one. It wasn't a lot of key points that I had, but I do have a few. So, just in summary, just reading this, what I saw was that, or how I interpret the chapter, what the intent or the content of the chapter was that it was the Lord's, and when I say the Lord's, I mean it, Yod Hey Waw Hey. If I mean just Lord, then I'll specify, but that's how it's rendered. So the Lord is having like a firm heart-to-heart with the people of Jerusalem, which is Judah, about their unfaithfulness. So in essence, or in a nutshell, that's what that chapter 2 was for me. And so that's in summary. I don't know if you want me to move into any points from this point.
Yeah, you go ahead. That was a simple summary. I would have agreed to do or say. So yeah, you go ahead. You good.
Okay.
We do have someone in the queue. I don't know if you wanted to go ahead with your point or bring them in the queue. Bring them up.
You can bring them in. You can bring them in.
All right. I believe this is Sister Chachma. You are live.
Okay, I just have a question. As you guys always know, I have questions. So when he was in the scripture, was talking about how he formed him in the womb, and he already, was anointed before he came out. Correct? Just correct me if I'm right or wrong. Yeah. No?
You're right. You're right.
Okay. So my question is just a question. I'm pretty sure y'all gonna say I don't know, but are we all formed that way? Are we all formed? Do you all believe that the Father, when we are created in our mother's womb, He already know what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, where we're predestined, and where we're going to go?
All right. Well, here's here's my answer to it. I'm the variety guy, or the whatever you want to call it. It depends on how you look at it. You ask somebody today that question, they're going to say more than likely that, the Most High knows, or we knew us before, of course, because He's the creator, or it's the creator, or however you want to put it. What Yedidyah brought out was on point to me as well. But but in addition to that, what I had brought out, I was trying to show that it was actually I believe it was actually a sanctified thing that they were predestined to do. And it was through, if you really look at it, the parents. We see that the Most High came through whatever vessel or through whatever cause He had through the parents. And it was a certain way they had to function or operate before that child was to come. And the child, before coming in physical form, was actually sanctified by what parents were doing. So from my belief, in context of your question, or in context of Yirmiyahu, or even the two that I mentioned, I believe that I would say no. From my current stance right now and belief that everyone is not, for the first part of your question, in this light to what he's saying to Yirmiyahu. But in the second part of your question, when you said, because I felt like it was two different questions, when you said, do he know, what's going to happen to you, things like that, I can't answer that question objectively speaking. Subjectively speaking, from my emotional or my belief or thought standpoint, I would say I still can't answer the question. I want to say yeah. I want to say from my personal type belief, then I could probably, but I don't want to go personal. So objectively speaking, I don't know. So that's my answer. I'm going to pass it on to Yedidyah. We do have Jeff that just came in too. I don't know if he wants to answer. So I'm gonna let Yedidyah speak first, then bring Jeff in, and then let you close out, Sister Hakma. So Yedidyah, you got the floor.
All right. So I'm gonna give a stab at this. As you know, I'm the political guy, so I'm going to take a political stance on this, but it's going to be very realistic. Okay, so I'm gonna come at it from two angles. All right, first and foremost, I believe that everybody is destined to do something, whatever that may be. So just from that, I would say yes. Now, from a cultural or just even internal way of thinking, to include the context of this. So when you look at it in context, you got verse 4. The word of the Lord came to me. All right. It says it's verse 5. Before I created you in the womb, I selected you. Before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet concerning the nation. This is like a predestination type of deal. Like, you were destined to do this. This is how I interpret it in a nutshell. You were destined to do this. All right? So this is being said. Now, look what is followed immediately after that statement is made. I replied, Lord God, I don't know how to speak, for I am still a boy. 7. And the Lord said to me, do not say, I am still a boy, but go wherever I send you and speak whatever I command you. Right? So this is one of those things. We know that when we deal with the Most High, it is a one-on-one thing, right? In this instance, he's saying the word of the Lord came to me. So this is a divine, a divine charge, all right, within himself that he feels charged of God, the Most High, Yah, to do a particular work, which is to be a prophet concerning the nations, right? That's what he's saying, So sometimes, let's just take it from a reality standpoint. You're sitting here, you're thinking, man, I feel moved by the Spirit to do something. That is the Most High, right? That is the word of the Most High coming to you. I feel moved of the Spirit to go out and do this, right? But then there's always, like I said, you go to that next verse, it said, I replied, right? So this is that struggle in your mind that you go through. Man, I can't do that, right? So this is him. Man, I'm still a child. I can't do this. He's consulting with the Most High at that point, saying so he feels that he feels led of the Most High to do this, but then he's doubting himself, right? Now that Ruach within him, which is the Most High, the word of the Most High that is manifesting within him, telling him to go out and do this, he's doubting it. He's trying to reason with himself to get himself out of it. Same thing we saw with Moshe. I can't speak. I have a speech impediment. Same thing, right? You don't want to go do what the superlative force is pushing you to do. So you start trying to get your way out of it, right? But it's destined for you to do. It's already set in stone. No matter what you do to try to get out of it, you're going to do it. That's my explanation.
All right. Okay, cool. So I'm going to bring Brother Jeff in, like I said. see if he has anything to say, and then Sister Hakma, we will let you close out with any extra questions or if no questions, a comment, and we'll go forward from there. So I still got you open, by the way, Sister. Judge, you are live.
Oh, yeah, so I just wanted to chime in on that question also. Starting off, I did do the fact check, how you were talking about Samson back in Judges 13. I did say about no razor coming upon his head, Nazarite. Then also Samuel in first chapter there in the 11th verse where Hannah was told not to put a razor upon his head, which is some Nazarite thing. So in those cases, the parents had, to do special things in regards to their children because God had a special purpose for them. In regards to the other part about before you were formed in that belly, I just think it's a good question because I've heard it so many times.
Right.
It's been preached by, before he knew you, and I'm not mocking anyone. But it was just like, I'm not Jeremiah, but yeah. So it kind of gives you the question, but in this case, before he knew me, but did he call me to do something special? So I just wanted to say from like a real quick, from a military standpoint, like before we leave one duty station and go to the next, we get these things called orders. The orders tell you where you're gonna be going, and pretty much what unit you're gonna be going to. So everybody gets those, all soldiers. But in some cases, you get what they call special orders. You ain't just going to this different state, but you're going to be doing a special duty assignment, let's say a drill sergeant or a recruiter. And in some cases, you have soldiers who say, man, I don't want to be no drill sergeant. I can't do that. I don't want to be no recruiter. I can't do that. But the people who have chosen these individuals to do these jobs have already researched their history of being in the military and found them suitable to do these things. So in some cases, I'm in the same boat because I definitely didn't want to do this thing called a platoon sergeant. I was later in my career, and I was like, I ain't doing all these road marches. I'm too old to do that. So why would you ask me to do this in my 18th year? But I ended up doing it because I met all the requirements. So I do think that just like those soldiers, they all get orders. And, even though in this case the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah, where these orders comes to soldiers too. But all of them don't get special orders. And when you get special orders, there's special things that you need to accomplish. So therefore, your orders look a little bit different than everybody else's orders. And I think that's how it is with us. God knows us, true enough. But if he has something special for you, sometimes he has to come and speak to you directly because we have that nature in us to say, I can't do it. I'm too young. I'm too old. I stutter. I can't do, the prayer or do this and that. So that's my take on it, and I'm glad the question is being asked, and that's all I had.
Hey, if you allow me to just piggyback before I bring Sister Hakma, I just want to say something in regards to the special orders. I love how he did that because think about priests. I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken, people, that all the priests had the same thing. He brought out those two people that I mentioned. It was a special thing they had to do. Not everyone had to take on the vow as a Nazarite. So it kind of runs right into what he's saying and my thoughts or my opinion, to where, you have these Levites. They have a certain thing they're supposed to do, but these particular ones that we mentioned or he brought out or I brought out had to take a different type of vow, a different type of sanctification. So I thought that was an awesome analogy. I don't know if it answers her question. I'm going to let her take the floor, and I yield. Sister Hakma, you are you already laughed. Go ahead.
Okay. My question was I just had the question because I'm vexed. I'm very vexed by our people and how we're losing them to this. And I'm just like, Father, please bring them back. So I was just like, if he formed us in our womb, and here you go, Sister Hakma, just use me as an example. I used to be full-fledged Christian, right? Then I'm like, okay, I learned about the Torah. We're supposed to be following these laws and commandments. He knew this. This is my theory, okay? He knew that I'm going to come and this is where I'm going to be and this is where I'm going to stand. And so, you know how there are people now saying that God is not all-knowing. He's not an all-knowing God. And we have our free will and we can do whatever we want. But Kish is saying, Sister Hockman is saying, he's still all-knowing. So I was just curious of what you all thought about as far as, you know, us being formed in our mother's womb, and he knows where we're going and where we're destined to be in the end. So I like you guys' explanation. I just love y'all input on things, and I hate y'all know me, because it's not always that, you guys. It's not. It's a lot of people that I see are falling away. And I'm just curious, did the Father form us that way, and that's the way it's going to be? And I know we're on the air, so I won't use this word, but it just bothers me. So I was just curious of what y'all thought. So I digress into the next question.
Well, thank you for that. I'm going to mute you, Sister and Brother Jeff, if you all can press 1 so that we know you come back on whenever you come back on. Yedidyah, did you have anything towards what was said? And if not, I don't know. I don't remember if it's my turn to go or if it's still your turn, but just let me know.
Yeah, I do have something to say. I want to say that was beautiful how Brother Jeff used that analogy, which is also ironic because I actually got put on orders for recruiting duty. So, yeah. So I know how that works all too well. And they come out of nowhere, too. It's like, hold on, am I reading this right? You selected me for what? You know, and you have no choice. You know, they chose you. You did not choose that. You know, some people choose it. You know, they put in for it and then they get selected. And then they're like, oh, okay, I got selected. But some people, it's just like DA select, Department of the Army. They just look at your records and they be like, oh, he make a great recruiter or a drill sergeant. And then next thing you know, you just get these orders or a notification that you've been selected. And it's out of nowhere, totally random. So I love that analogy because I can definitely relate to it. And I just like it for the simple fact that it just shows that everybody's not on the same it's not on the same level of destination. Like everything don't apply to everybody. So you know, some people, there are some special cases for different people. So we can't always look at one situation and try to apply it to everybody. And I think that's the biggest lesson to learn here. Because as he said, he hears this all the time. And people love to just blessing I will bless thee, cursing I will curse thee. You know what I'm saying? Those who bless you, you know, I will bless them. Those who curse you, I will curse. Like that was for Abraham. You know what I'm saying? But yet we throw this around for everybody. Oh, he was talking to you. So in this case, I do want to say in this case he's speaking directly to Yirmiyahu. So not to say that it can't apply to other people, because like I said, we see that he did raise up different people as we've read before, and we will continue to read. And he brought them up from a youth. So there's numerous examples of different people. So it can apply to other people, but it doesn't apply to everybody. You know, it doesn't always apply to everybody. Let me say that. Some things may apply to everybody. Some things may not apply to everybody. That's just something that you figure out along the way. But it's not a be-all, tell-all type of deal like it's set in stone, yeah. he formed everybody in the womb, of course. But he's specifically talking about this task that he's sending him out to do. And that's the narrative. And Shama, you can go ahead with your point. You can go ahead and kick it off with points.
What did we leave off at? I know we're in chapter 2, but we've been going through it.
I just gave the summary, so we didn't jump into nothing.
Oh, okay.
Yet.
Okay, cool. So I just want to, I guess I'll do, my point is actually 3, verse 3, but I know I got to give a little bit of context. So I'll bring the read verse 1 as well. The verse 1 says, the word of Yah came to me, saying, go and call out in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, I guess I'll just read verse 2 too. Thus said Yah, I recall for you the kindness of your mouth, the love of your nuptials. I don't even know how to say what that word is. Sorry, y'all. You're following me into the wilderness, into an unsown land. So he wants to bring that back. That's basically what he's saying right here. But watch this. It says, Israel is holy to Yah, the first of his crop. All who devour it will be held guilty. Evil shall come upon them, the word of Yah. The part that I want to point out, and I have my own thoughts on it, but I would love to know you all's take, is when it says, Israel is holy to Yah, the first of his crop. So normally when something has a first, it has a second. Could be third and fourth and so on. But we do know inevitably, or without a shadow of doubt, that when something is said as to the first of its crop, then it's more than likely something after. So what is your take on that? And if we want to just remain in context and see it in the latter sense of this study, then that's cool too. So I guess I'm just putting it out there to keep at the back of the forefront of our mind that Israel is the first. Can you
repeat that question? I was reading.
Well, it's I guess it's not really a question. It's more so, what's your thoughts on the first of its crop, or it's more so of let's keep that in mind and see what we will see in the future studies. But please, if you have anything to say towards that, go ahead.
Well, we know it's like basically Israel's first fruit. So basically, I guess to explain that, I would have to, basically they were the first to sprout up, and then that first fruit is like near and dear. We see culturally everything is like first. Even now, like people say, give God your first. Your first. So culturally, I just think what that means is like they were his best. They're his prized possession, like he says, the apple of my eye. All these different little idioms that are used. So that's my take on that. So it's like a holy gift, so to say, like, because that's what the first fruit is. It's like basically like when you get your first harvest, the way it's like the most joyous thing. Like everything after that is cool, because you reaping harvest, but that first fruit like, you know, that first fruit from a tree, when you see it, it's like that initial manifestation. I don't know if I'm making any sense to anybody, but that's what I'm getting. I don't know if you want have any response to that.
Oh, no, I appreciate the response. You could go ahead with your next point if you like.
All right. So my point that I want to bring out is in verse 11. Like I said, the whole chapter, the Most High is having this heart-to-heart talk with the people about their unfaithfulness. So within that, in verse 11, I saw that there was a comparison of faithfulness. And that comparison was between, you know, Israel or Judah and the nations. And, you know, within that comparison, it kind of got deep to me, because what I saw was a highlight of a cultural steadfastness of the nations versus the cultural undisciplined behavior of Judah. So I'm going to read it so y'all can kind of, so I could paint the picture a little bit better of what I'm saying. So it's verse 11. He says, has any nation changed its gods, even though they are not gods? But my people has exchanged its glory for what can do no good. So he's basically telling them, like, y'all switching gods like draws. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are like, what they call it. I don't want to use the word unstable, but y'all are, I think it's in the New Testament, they say, like, basically on the fence, like y'all, I can't think of the word right now, man. If anybody know what I'm trying to say, please assist me. It's just not coming to me right now. But basically being tossed to and fro.
Double-minded? Maybe?
Double-minded.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. You double-minded, being tossed to and fro. You unstable, you undisciplined. But even though the nations had these gods that are not gods at all, okay, and that's also within my point that I want to make. The gods of the nations are not gods. That's what the text say. But even though they worship wood and stone, right? Let's just say it like that. They worshiping these idols that have no life in them. At least they're consistent. They stick with that God. So that's a cold-blooded comparison to me.
Yeah.
It's a cold-blooded comparison to me. And
wow.
Like the sister was saying, Hokmine, I see her in a queue. I'm going to talk to your spirit right now. That falling away thing is because I will say this. Our people, just to say it, we got Muslims, we got this and that. I'm not knocking nobody's belief. But I believe we are the most inconsistent group of individuals when it comes to believing in whatever particular deity we want to believe in. I'm a prime example, but I'm seeking. I done been through so many different beliefs, but I see this amongst us heavily. I see us jumping from different things to different things. We have no cultural steadfastness. And this is what the Most High is expressing in his heart-to-heart talk with Judah. And this is where the spiritual whoredom comes in. You're basically spiritual whores because you're jumping from God to God. At least the nations, even though their gods are no gods, they stick with that. And that's my point.
I got something I want to say. I know we've been Sister Hakma, and I just want something to say before you. I got something to say. I'm sorry. Before you bring her in, check this out. This goes right back to what I brought out when I was opening up Yirmiyahu. It went right into. Oh, sorry. I think we. Okay. It went right into when I was like, the mass is always hungry for reassurance and outrage. So they were always hungry for something, right? It's a little bit off, but I still see that. I see that you had said we have no, I forgot the word. I know you said cultural something. I forgot the word you put right behind that. Steadfastness, yes. I think it's because we're just not satisfied. And I think I got that in the upcoming verses to come, but I'm going to say it now. I think that we just want more. We don't, it's like it's always more, or we're not satisfied with what's the heritage in which we are to the Most High. We're not satisfied. Now, if you're going to attach things that are already there, that's one thing. But or universal sense, I guess that's one thing. But when we are, like you brought out, and like the text is bringing out, literally going to other gods or whatever you want to call it that has no foundational structure that is from the Creator himself or itself, Yah, Yohewah, then it's like you're just hungry. I mean, it's kind of like this, and I'm done after I say this. It's kind of like, instead of just taking in what we need, we want more. We get glutton, I guess the New Testament say, right? It's kind of like what we do today. We actually, in the United States, we are obese. We look at the other people in the world, and we be like, oh, well, they're not just really eating. We're eating more than we need. So we're just hungry for more. Oh, I like that. I want to put that imply this. I want more of this. This is what I'm seeing with what Yirmiyahu or the Most High is dealing with. We want more than what he has given for us. We just want more. When what he had suffices. And last thing I'm going to say, I think I said that already, but last thing I'm going to say is this. It goes back to with the whole, when he's telling Yirmiyahu, just do what I say. Because what I say is not to control you, it's really to help you. And as soon as you go off course of that, like the parents that's on the line, like we are to our kids, we see things they don't see. As soon as you go off course, then you just did that to yourself. And anything extra that you're doing is because you just want it. You're hungry. You're feeding yourself more than what you need. Just take what you need, and you'll be good. That's all I got. I'm going to bring Sister Hakma in, and then I think it'll be my turn on my next point. Well, no, I'll bring her in, then I'll let Yedidyah in with whatever he might want to say, and then I'll go to my next point. Sis, you live.
This was right on time. I didn't even read Jeremiah, y'all. And I was like, look at the Most High. Yes, I believe he answers all prayers. And I just wanted to say thank y'all because I'm losing my mind over here. I do want to talk to Yedidyah off the line later on today if he has time. But he said something that was profound, especially about the scriptures when the Most High is saying, people are, going after these other guys. And what he said, Yedidyah said, jumping guys like they jumping underwear. It's like people say there's no other guys, and I think I'm trying to do two things at once, y'all. So I think I heard Yedidyah say that there's no other guys. However, I do have a question for y'all. This is probably a rush show topic I'm about to bring up. But if there is no other guys, then why would the Most High use that there are other gods and you shouldn't worship no other gods So they have to be other gods, correct?
It just depends on how you're looking at it. I mean, I can. How about this? I'll keep mine in 20 seconds, and then I'll let you go ahead. Okay, here. Give me about 30. Just give me time, okay? It depends on how you look at it. Remember, I say variables all the time, and I say perspective.
Yes.
It literally depends on your thought and your belief. Now, it's a thing, and we got to make this a rest show topic. After he said what he said, we got to let this one go because it's so deep.
Okay.
But
let it go.
people go from no, you good. People go from monotheism and henotheism. Here's my take as of right now, and I don't have anything big or bad against the whole mono and heno thing, because I get what both people are saying. But I stand firm on this. But here's the answer to the question you asked. Why would the Most High say that if it's no gods? Here's an easy question. Easy answer. The answer is, if I'm going to relate to someone on something, I have to get on their level. So to them, they think that it's another God. They think, okay, I'm doing this, but okay, look. There's no other God but me. Don't serve no other God. When he's saying serving, it's basically you're taking on customs that has nothing to do with what I taught you that's going to suffice for your life and success. But since you believe that these people are right, or this God is true, then, hey, you need to go ahead and, first of all, you do what you want to do, but you're going to keep suffering. But you need to come back over here, the one and true living God. I'm not no stone. I'm not no wood. I'm not something that you created. You did not create me. I created you. Most of the gods that we are talking about pertaining to, there are creations of them. There are wood and stone, as we're seeing. So it's not that, from my perspective at this point, it's not that he's saying, hey, there are other gods, but there are other gods to you because you created them. You're making them that. And that's it. I digress.
Okay.
Boy, that was profound. Man, that was. Hey, so
I thought I was ranting for a minute.
I don't have to say much, but I do want to say in the context, we have to stay in context as well. But what that brother said covers all context. In the context of this, he said in 11, has any nation changed its gods, even though they are no gods, right? So, in the context of the narrative that we've been reading, every God that I can recall us coming across was an image or idol, as we say, wood, stone, a carving. Graven image. Graven means that it's carved, right? So he's in the context of this is what they have been whoring after of, right? This is what they've been going after of. So he's saying that these nations, they stick with their little graven images. Y'all keep going back and forth from me to a different one, Astaroth, Baal, the Baalim, all the different Baals. This is what y'all doing. He's getting into it if you read it. So it goes back to what I said, the cultural steadfastness. This is not of the culture. This is not the culture I gave y'all. Because remember we talked about inheritance. His heritage. You know what I'm saying? This is not the heritage I gave y'all. Like, we made a vow. I'm your God. Like, nothing else. Because it goes in the context of what you call a God. You know what I'm saying? We can call anything we want to a God. And to us, it is God. Or to whoever, it is God. You can call whatever you want to God. But what he's telling them is that I am your God. I was your God. I am what you called God. So I am God. I am, like he said, the true living God. So why do you keep whoring after these idols? And it's like he says that you have exchanged your glory for what can do no good. Them idols can't do them nothing. It ain't doing them nothing. That's why he's saying, why don't you cry out to them idols you was crying out to? Why you running back to me now?
Now you running back to me. God,
we're going to leave this at the show topic because I got some more for that, but it's deep. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. Far as I don't think I really addressed questions because I think Shama did an excellent job. But just to at least give something, because I went into something like a deeper aspect of it, piggybacking off what Shama said. But just to directly address your question, there are so it depends on what you want to attest God to mean. Because it stems from a word in the Ivrit, the Hebrew, as power. So there's many things that has power.
Power, okay.
But the most high power is what us Hebrews attribute as God, because there's nothing greater. There's no greater power than that. So we look at it as, these are lesser powers in the world. But he is all powerful. So in the Hebraic culture, there is no other God. And that's what
I want to add something real quick. You just said something. I'm not going to be long, I promise. What he just did right there, and this might be, I don't know if this where the sister going, but we're going to definitely have, this got to be definitely a rest show. But you just said something, and what you just said, I don't even know if you caught it. You probably did. But that's actually, it's some Hebrews that look at the way he said it as like henotheism. It's an all power, this power, and you got these lesser powers. I thought you was about to go somewhere with it, but we can't. We don't got time for that. But, and I don't want to put nothing on people that's listening that might not know anything about these things. But like he said, Hebrews understanding, because last thing I'm going to say is, because I think it's pointless to have an argument with the monotheism and henotheism. The reason I believe it's not a great argument, and no disrespect to those that do it, is because both of them who believe in that still credit the Most High as the actual power, which goes into what Yedidyah is saying. Hebrews believe that it is one power, like literally. So the people that do henotheism and monotheism, they're both saying the same thing slightly, but it's a slight difference as to where the henotheism people are going with it. But they still believe the same thing that the monotheism people believe, in a sense. So I just said that to piggyback off of your one power then lesser powers. So we'll have a show on this, y'all. We'll definitely do this a rest show on this later. Oh, okay. So Sister Hakma, did you? Oh, I think her line dropped. So we're going to continue. Yedidyah, was it your turn, I believe, or was it mine?
It's on you.
Okay, so you were down at verse 11. I had that too, but I'm not going to speak on it because you did an excellent job. But they did not wear. I had 6 and 8. I don't want to leave those. I really don't have nothing big to talk about with 6 and 8. We see Sister Hakma, you came back, so if you want to close out what you were saying, just press 1. But for verse 6 and 8, I literally just want to read it for the listeners, for those that might have read it or those that just tuning in now to get some, get the not lesson, but get the literature that we're going through. So I don't really have any points to really pull out of it. It's going to bring it out itself. Verse 6 says, but they did not say, where is Yah, who brought us from the land of Mitzrayim, or Egypt, who led us in the wilderness, in a land of desert and pit, in a land of waste and the shadow of death, in a land through which no man passed and where no person settled. I might as well read 7. I brought you into a fruitful land to eat its fruit and bounty. But you came and contaminated my land and made my heritage into an abomination. This goes into what Yedidyah was saying, in a sense. It lines up a little bit. He brought out the heritage and things of that nature, and the dropping or changing of gods like underwear. Verse 8, it says the Kohanim, or priests, did not say, where is Yah? Those charged with teaching the Torah did not know me. Wow. The shepherds rebelled against me. The prophets prophesied by the Baal, and they went after those that cannot avail. Goes right to 11 where he brought out. I don't have to explain anything. I don't believe I do anyway. Go ahead, Yedidyah.
All right. Let me find all right, so my last and final point is something that I saw in verse 27. Let me go down to it. All right. So, like we was talking about these idols, because this is what. Okay, so I spoke about this before, and it was just something that was just like I was being led to, like really was resonating with me, and I started to try to bring it out little by little as I saw it pop up. Now, in conjunction with what we've been talking about, we've been bringing out wood and stone a lot. So I guess at this point I will take a stand on just this belief that what I see is that the original or ancient understanding of idol worship, so the denotation of idol worship, according to the Hebrew writers, is like worshiping graven images, wood and stone. I know people talk about American Idol and all that stuff like that. That is an evolved concept, okay? But I'm just sticking strictly with the book. I haven't seen anything reference to idol worship like somebody reverencing a king or any of the Kohen or so in essence of what the book says idol worship is what I've been following for a minute, that I've been keeping my eye on it, and it's been resonating with me, is the worshiping of a graven image. So I'm going to read 27. He says, okay, so before that, I'll read 26 for context. So let a thief cringe when he is caught, right? So in the house of Israel cringed. They, their kings, their officers, and their priests and prophets. 27. They said to wood, you are my father. To stone, you gave birth to me. While to me they turned their backs and not their faces. But in their hour of calamity, they cry, arise and save us. So this is what I was talking about. You want to worship this wood and this stone, and then now you're crying to me. So, with that said, we see that this is one, the the original or ancient understanding of idol worship. And then also I want to make reference to Deuteronomy 4 and 28. I'm going to go to it real quick. Shema, if you can grab it before me, then that's fine. But, all right, 4 and 28. All right, so because he's talking about the nations not changing their gods, right? 27, I'm going to start with 27 and go to 28. The Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and only a scant few of you shall be left, among which that's normally what we call the remnant, will be left among the nations to which the Lord will drive you. There you will serve man-made gods of wood and stone that cannot see or hear or eat or smell. So we see that this goes all the way back to Deuteronomy of like these cultural differences, because they're being adopted into this belief of Yah as Elohim. The nation's been thinking that they can make gods of wood and stone. When he said he was going to drive them out the land and they go into captivity, which we seeing all this in Isaiah and the rest of the prophets as we keep going into these different prophets, we're going to see them being driven into different lands, taken captive. We've seen it in Kings, how they was being invaded, taken captive, being moved out the land, and other people being moved into the land in Kings. In those nations, they worship wood and stone. So in Devarim and Deuteronomy, when he said that these curses is going to befall them, and this is what's going to happen to them through Moshe back then, they were going to be taken captive because they was going to go on the land and they weren't going to do right. We see all this unfolding right now, but it is imperative to know that these nations worship wood and stone. So when they go into these lands, this is what they're going to have to do, or this is what they're going to end up doing in their captivity. But this was the original ancient culture, to worship graven images. Abraham's father was a idol worshiper, and when he told him to leave his people, his kindred, and his land, and he was going to bring him into another land, this is when Abraham adopted this concept of Yah. But everybody else around them in the ancient Near East still this way. So I just wanted to dive into that. That's my last point for this chapter.
All right. I think so you came out with 20. I had 20 as well. So I won't go into that. Verse 16 is kind of going into my little analogy with the whole when we was reading on Jeremiah, and the analogy I had brought with the whole picking your feet up on the curb, over a curb so you won't trip. You know, you chose to go against the natural functionality of what the mind and the leg connection is, what I created, right? What the Most High created. So it's kind of like even the people of North and Tafan has smashed your skull. Has this not been done to you because you forsake Yah, your God, when he leads you on the path? So this isn't talking necessarily to Jeremiah at all, but he's speaking in the same fashion as what the analogy I brought out. You know, he set forth the path, and the reason that now this happened to you is because you didn't stay on that path. It's not that, I mean, people can go with the technicalities as to what the Most High did this, but from the way I'm looking at it as he has gave you this perfect setup to help you succeed. Anything outside of this, any modifying in your own will of it, definitely can affect it. And if it does affect it, it was because you did not stay with the plan and the path. So you brought out verse 27 already. I had that point as well. I thought that was pretty interesting, and I think that's the case today. I mean, we just want to do our own thing. This is out of context, but it still can relate to how we are and how they are. We want to run back when things are it's not going the way that we desire now, but we wanted to go ahead and implement this extra stuff because we felt it to be right. But then when it's not being right, now when we're in distress, which is what my version says, but in their time of distress, they will say, arise and save us. Now we want to ask for that. What's wrong with just staying with the plan? Why do we always want to be a part of the way other people are operating? Why does that influence us so much? I mean, because that's the basis of this context, right? That's what we're speaking of. That's what he just brought out. You're over there. At least they do what they do. At least they're not going back and forth like Yedidyah brought out in which he was saying, the Most High. At least they're staying. They're not hot and cold. They're there. But you back and forth. Is it because you really like what's going on over there? Even I'm sure some of us on this line has dealt with that, myself included. But over this course of these studies, over this course of our journey, that stuff has been to a bare minimum, if not at all. And that's the goal. The goal is to be where he wants us to be. He's speaking of it right now. At least they remain in it. I want you to love what I'm presenting to you, because what I'm presenting to you is life. You step outside of it in any way. It might not happen right then and there, but you ultimately destroying yourself. Now you want to say, save me? My hand not too far, but you're going to have to repent, and I'm sure we're about to read that somewhere. So I'm not trying to go too far off course, but going down, let's see. I think I got two more things to present because you said you're done. Let's see. Man, this is deep. I mean, let's read 31. I don't want to skip these parts. This is what the Most High is feeling in the literature of what the writers believe it was feeling, right? Yod He Waw He. So 31 says, O generation, contemplate the word of Yah. Have I been a wilderness to Israel? That's deep. Have I been a wilderness to Yisrael? Or a land of deep darkness? I believe that the wisdom of the Most High, the Torah, is definitely not darkness. It brings forth wisdom to operate even within the world. But we love the world so much, right? Why have my people said we separate ourselves from you, inserted? We will no longer come to you. Can a maiden forget her jewelry, a bride her adornments? Yet my people have forgotten me for days without number. That's facts. How many of us literally, I know this is something different, but I just want to put this out. We got to bring this out. We got to bring out what the Most High, how the Creator feels. I mean, I believe it's a psalm somewhere that speaks on Moshe. It says Moshe knew the ways of the Most High, but Israel knew the acts. You know, I know the ways is not necessarily the feeling, but I believe that the ways it manifests from how you feel and how you think and things of that nature. So I think in essence, the ways comes is connected to the feeling. So Moshe knew that, but the other people didn't. I think that applies today too, but even in context here, you know, yet my people have forgotten me for days without number. Go back to Moshe in the time of Mount Sinai. What happened when he was doing his fasting or whatnot with the Most High? What did the people do? They forgot the Most High for days. Matter of fact, they called the idol that they created, this is Yah who brought us out. These are things we got to look at. I mean, if we, this is no pressure that I'm putting out there, by the way. This is only for those that literally want to do their best to please the Creator, you know, and this is what he's putting out here. And we see that the examples that take place. I think this literature is fascinating and great for us because it paints a picture and it helps us because we're going through this very same stuff today. All right, last thing I'm going to bring out. Let's go down to, I'm just going to read all the way down to 36 and I'm done. It says, how you adorn your way to seek love. Indeed, to the greatest evils have you accustomed your ways. Wow. Even on your hymns is found the blood of poor. Now he getting into morale, right? Innocent souls. We see that today. We saw that there. You do not discover them in a break-in. For all these, I condemn you. I condemn you is in brackets, so that's for implemented, I believe. For all these that you say, no, I am pure, his anger will subside from me. So even though you're doing this stuff, you still saying I'm pure. His anger, will subside from me. Behold, I am entering into judgment with you because of your saying. Because of your saying, I have not sinned, it says. That's your saying. I have not sinned. That's deep because it could be some of us right now. That could be me. You know, but I think that through the wisdom and understanding that we are getting and the practice of these things that we're learning, then this will not be us. You know, how very much you demean yourself to change your way. Guess what? You will be ashamed even by Egypt as you were shamed by Assyria. From this alliance also you will emerge clapping your hands to your head, for Yah has rejected your guarantors. I think I'm saying that wrong. You will not succeed with them, saying, if a man divorces his wife and she goes from him and marries another man, can he return to her again? So now it's just going into the idolatry and equals adultery part. I'm not going to go through all that. It is going more so in context of the time back then, but I wanted to just bring a different perspective. So that's all I have for the chapter. I don't know if you have anything in comment to what I said, Yedidyah. If so, go ahead. If not, after he speaks, if he does, then those that's listening, this is the time where you come in and you have any comments, any questions. We really we invite that. We would love that because it's going to help us grow as well. In 10 minutes, matter of fact, hold on. In 10 minutes, we are going into the portion of overtime because we have one chapter left. So those that are online, please call in at 516-595-8238. Again, the number, write it down right now. You got 10 minutes, is 516-595-8238. You will be cut off if you are listening online. All right, Yedidyah, floor is yours.
No, I didn't have anything, brother. That was good. It's good that you read all that. For me, I just wanted to, as far as my point goes, just hit those things that I highlighted or whatever. But if I had the time, like it's so much in here, so I tried to condense my points because I know it would run for a while. But it's definitely, I encourage people to read it all the way through if you didn't before the show, because it's a lot of things in there that the Most High, like I said, he's having a heart-to-heart that he's hitting on, that we can kind of look at the Most High's character and look at what he's addressing and kind of reflect it to our lives, even though in context he's speaking to them directly, but I don't think he changes his viewpoint of how he sees things. So we can apply that to us in the way we operate as well and see how the Most High would view or is viewing that right now as us living as Hebrews or adopting that culture of Yah.
Definitely. That's good. All right, so going to give you all just a moment or so to press 1 if you want to. And then, if not, we will proceed. And once again, in the famous words, for Yedidyah, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So again, because once I start talking, I will not cut myself off. It's 7 minutes left. The number for those that are online, 516-595-8238. 516-595-8238. All right. So it's my turn to bring a quick little summary of the chapter. I don't have a lot in this chapter because this chapter is really self-explanatory. A couple different points, actually, I believe me and him both brought out that's going to be coming on to these chapters. So in summary, we see that, at this point before chapter 3, the Most High was kind of bringing some comparisons or some metaphors in as to being for him or it, some may say Yod Hey Wow Hey, versus being with the other small Elohims or mighty ones. But going down to chapter 3, now he's explaining idolatry in comparison or equaling adultery in this context. And then, now he brings forth a little information on a comparison of Judah, Yehuda, and Yisrael, which Israel is Israel, but it is a separation between those two. I think Yedidyah brought a little bit of the northern and southern kingdom earlier today. What else? And then what I have brought out a little earlier about, when he has said something about, Yedidyah said something about, you're going here and then now you're coming to, you wanted to be saved. He referencing the chapter 2, the end of 2, I believe, or middle of 2, which the Most High he will bring forth or bring you, right? Bring you back, but it is something or condition towards that, and that's repentance. So that's what this chapter speaks on towards the end. And that's all. That's the summary. Yedidyah, if you want to say anything, go ahead, or if you want me to just go ahead on my first point, I will.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, in summary for me, it's exactly what you said, but just to make it real short, I just say heart-to-heart continued. Like, it's a continuation of this heart-to-heart. He really diving into this seems like a continual issue that he's having with as the book says, his chosen people or his people. He's having this issue with them, and he's like sitting down trying to have a heart-to-heart through his prophet, Jeremiah. So I think it just, as the narrative continues, that's really the base foundation of Jeremiah's narrative, the book of Jeremiah. So that's all I got for that. I'll let you go into your first point, and then I'll just follow suit.
All right. My first point is at 6. So if you have anything before 6, then I'll let you go ahead and jump in front of me because I don't have anything before 6. I mean, I did speak on what was being spoken of, 1 through 5. But if you have something there, then go ahead.
No, I'm right there with you. I start at 6.
All right. So for those that's listening, I'm just going to go ahead and go into my verse 6. I recommend you reading verses 1 through 5. It really talks about the idolatry in comparison to adultery. And the Most High is comparing him with that and Yisrael with that as well. So I'm going right into verse 6, and I thought this was interesting. It says, Yah said to me, in the days of King Josiah, this goes back to what we showed that he was in the time of Josiah. Have you seen what rebellious Israel did? Question mark. So we do understand, and I think that Yedidyah brought it out before, Israel in this sense is not speaking of them in total. Speaking of, I think it's not speaking of Judah. So speaking of the 10 tribes, going along, it says, she went unto every high mountain and under every leafy tree and committed adultery there. Before I keep reading, I just wanted to say that, and I'm going to stop actually. I'm not going to keep reading because I want to see what you have. I got verse 7 too, and verse 7. But it's like we get bored. Going back into the whole conversation we've been talking about, it's literally like we get bored. Okay, what else to do? I mean, it's so much in this culture, it's so much in the understanding of the Most High and the scriptures that it can feed you for the rest of your life, in my opinion. Okay, but and I understand why this happens, though. You know, it's not to say that it has never happened to me. It's not to say that it never will happen to me again. But I really believe that we get bored. And I'm done after I say that. I think we get bored, y'all. And, you know, I think the only way that we won't get bored is if we saturate ourselves in Yah. Still live your life, have fun, but saturate yourself. If this is what you want to do, this is no pressure that I'm doing. This is just an advice, suggestion, option. Saturate yourself. That's it. Go ahead, Yedidyah.
If you wanted to continue into 7, because my point and sub points cover verses 6 through 11. So okay. I don't know if you want me to go ahead and go, but I figured it'd probably just be good for you to do 7, and then I just do a recap of all of it.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll just go ahead and read 7. Dang, I had 8 too, but I'll stop at 7. So it says this. I said, even after she had done all these things, return to me. So this is speaking of the 10 tribes. But she did not return. And her unfaithful sister, Judah, saw what befell her. Now, I want to say, hold on. I wrote this down. Okay, no. You say you're going to 11?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit verse 8, 10,
11.
and 11. Yep.
Okay, cool. I want to hear what you're gonna say. And if you don't say what I'm gonna say, then I'll say something. So I'm done. Go ahead.
All right. So for me, when I was reading it, the brother hit on some of the things already, but verses 6 through 11 was like a comparison of the house of Israel, which is the northern kingdom, and the house of Judah, which is the southern kingdom. And like we specified, you got northern kingdom, 10 tribes, southern kingdom, 2. Judah, Benjamin. Of course, you got priests. So you got Levi split, Levitical priest split between the two kingdoms. But so you had this comparison between the two during this heart-to-heart. You got Judah being depicted as the worst between the two. You see that in verse 11. I'll read that little part. It says, "And the Lord said to me, rebel Israel has shown herself more in the right than faithless Judah." And then so you ask yourself why they compare it that way, as the northern kingdom, like, what did it say? More in the right. So you ask yourself that, you get your answers, you go back up to verse 8, which basically in a nutshell says that Judah did not learn from Israel's mistakes. So it's kind of like one person go do wrong. You sitting there and watch them do wrong. You see what happened to them. Let's just say somebody living a life of crime, they robbing. You watch them get arrested, they get locked up for 15 years. You turn right around and go do the same crime that you seen them do and get locked up as well. You should learn from observation. So that was one. I guess I could read it. I noted, because rebel Israel had committed adultery, I cast her off and handed her a bill of divorce, yet her sister, faithful Judah, was not afraid. She too went and whored. So, that didn't pump no fear into their heart to see them cast it away. They seen the consequences of it. They still took the risk. All right. Secondly, Judah faked their repentance. All right, verse 10. "And after all that, her sister, faithless Judah, did not return to me wholeheartedly, but insincerely declares the Lord." So basically, they half-stepping, or they trying to, like he said, when through your calamity you run back to me. So this is what he's saying to them, and this is why Judah is depicted as the worst between the two. And before you jump in, Shama, but it's crazy how everybody wants to be Judah. And Judah is depicted as the worst between the two. But yeah.
Hey,
so
that's man. I'm about to post that on my I'm posting that on my Twitter and my Facebook. Heck, he said it's crazy. Everybody want to be Judah when Judah is depicted the worst of all. Wow. I have my Twitter handle, people, is Shama Talamido. Since I brought that out. Anyway, I only have verse. My next one is verse. Oh, was that my last? I don't know if I had any more to bring out. I think I had 11. Okay, and I think that you should read, people that's listening in, read 11 through 14. I think that's good to really read. But I had one of you all's intake as far as verse 17. I know the argument, but I just want to see what it is. Yedidyah, your take on it. It says, at the time, people will call Jerusalem, or Jerusalem, the throne of Yah, and all the nations will be gathered to her in the name of Yah. To Jerusalem, they will no longer follow the visions of their evil heart. Man, that'll be a wonderful thing whenever that day comes, huh? But right here it says all the nations. And when I looked at we'll go back to it right now. Sorry, I was trying to see what it was. What was the word for that? If I'm not mistaken, I think the word, if you're not there already.
For all nations?
At the time they shall call Jerusalem throne of the Lord and all the nations. Yeah. All the nations. It's going, right?
It's Kol HaGoyim.
Kol HaGoyim. So, is that all the nations, or is that just the northern and southern kingdom? That would be the argument, I guess, amongst people. I would say. Go ahead.
I would say the nations within Israel, because if you keep going down and say, in those days the house of Judah shall go with the house of Israel, they shall come together from the land of the north to the land I gave your fathers as a possession. Like we said before, where it says the world and all that stuff, like we've seen that, or from the word eretz, we see that word also can be rendered as land. So I kind of want to say, on the record, I could hit my reset button, but I haven't seen exclusively that. Well, let me say it like this. I've seen this exclusively as Hebrew, like dealing with the Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? Like all that other stuff, like because Hebrews, even if you go, it talks about the Hebrew nations. There are nations within the nation.
Right.
Got separate kingdom. It says kingdoms. Each tribe has a king. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're their own kingdom inside of a kingdom. That's just how it is. They're just lesser kingdoms. But when you speak
of the house...
So my question to you...
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm about to say, so my question to you, because you brought something out, and it's still in context because it's talking about this. We went through Devarim, we went through I forgot to say numbers. Wow. Midbar. I just forgot to say Midbar. There you go. I forgot to say it in Ivrit. Sorry, everyone. Slicha. But we saw, so when you say, so would you say specifically, when you speaking of the nation of Israel, that is literally the nation of Israel, or is it people joined with them? Because of course
they're
part of the nation, like United. Right.
Well, of course you have foreigners. I mean, let's just be realistic. Every nation, we could look right now. There's a foreigner in every nation. Now you look at it, some are more than others, like China. You're gonna hardly ever see too many foreigners in China, but just the population of it. but you're going to always see foreigners everywhere. Ain't a place you can go unless you go to some real secluded, like, village type thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But far as...
And these people become the nation. Am I right or wrong?
Right. Just like Israel.
Okay.
You have Palestinians there. You have Ethiopians. You know, all that. Like, you have different faces everywhere you go. You know, then you have the most dominant face that is, and when I say dominant, is that just the one that is the face of it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even know it's black people in Israel right now. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know.
They're nationals too. I mean, well, you know, that's part of their nation. Like on their card, it actually says Israeli. I know a couple so-called black people that are Israelis in regards to being a part of the nation of the Israel we look at today. Literally, no.
Even like, I mean, but you have that, you know, so I wouldn't say that that's something that happened later. I mean, I think that's always been that way.
Always been the case, yep.
Right, because our current economics, all that stuff stems from ancient. I mean, you can't get one place, you can't get to somewhere without coming from somewhere. You know, so all this stuff that we have is just the evolution of what they had then.
Exactly. I like your answer. Okay.
But
that's it. I don't have anything else.
Okay, so I'm gonna just jump into those things that you actually brought out because that's mine, and it'll be two quick points. So verses, like he said, verses 12 through 14. I'm not gonna read it, but I would suggest, like he said, read that. But the Lord's his compassion and how his mercy works. I might tap into it a little bit just so I could bring that out, paint that picture a little bit better. So this is what he said. Go make this proclamation towards the north. Talking about Israel, right? And say, turn back, O rebel Israel. That's the northern kingdom. Declares the Lord. I will not look on you in anger, for I am compassionate, declares. I do not bear a grudge for all time. So that just sat heavy with me. It weighed on me. It resonated with me because what I got from that is just how his mercy works, right? I'm going to read a little bit more. Only recognize your sin. Let me stop right there real quick. All right, so going back up, he's saying, I don't hold a grudge for all time. I'm not going to forever be mad at you. That's not how I work. I'm compassionate, right?
Right.
And then the very next thing he says, only.
Only what?
That's a definitive word. I mean, that is a definitive word. That's a certainty. Only recognize your sin.
Only recognize your sin. Wow. You know how hard that is?
He didn't say go slaughter something or anything like that. And I want to tap into that also with one of the things Shama want to input on too, because it's a part of my point. So I didn't really jump into that. He said, "Only recognize your sin, for you have transgressed against the Lord your God, and scattered your favors among strangers under every leafy tree, and you have not heeded me, declares the Lord." So basically what he's saying is that you have subject yourselves to the nations, you engaging in these things. I just want you back. You know what I'm saying? Just recognize you did me wrong.
Just recognize. Wow.
Recognize that you did me wrong and not continue in what you're doing. Come back to me. I'm not going to be mad forever.
No.
All right?
That's hard.
Yeah, that is hard.
It's hard for people to do, but
yeah, I wanna read this 14, and then I wanna shift into. So it said, "Turn back, rebellious children, declare the Lord. Declare the Lord as what? As your God. Turn back. That's what we call repentance.
mm-hmm.
Rebellious children, since I have espoused you, I will take you, one from a town and two from a clan, and bring you to Zion." Right? So, that's pretty clear cut that he's saying that, just recognize you wrong, I'm not going to be mad forever. Like, there's no extra stuff in there in this situation, right? And then lastly, I see Sister Hookma in the queue. We're going to let you in, sis. Just please bear with us, be patient. I want to get this last one out. And then in 15 through 18, as he's talking about them returning, then we see things to come, things to come to pass. I'm not going to read all of it, but Brother Shama in 17, where he's talking about the throne, it says they're a symbol, and it says, "There shall no longer follow the willfulness of their evil heart." He said that'd be a glorious thing to see. And he said, "They shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and they shall assemble." Is something else in there. Okay, 18. "In those days the house of Judah shall go with the house." Okay, I read that one. It was something here. Let me see. Let me go back up. Oh, 16. He says, I'm just going to read this particular part. "In those days, declares the Lord, men shall no longer speak of the ark of the covenant of the Lord, nor shall it come to mind. They shall not mention it, or miss it, or make another one." All right. We seen he gave instructions on how to make the ark of the covenant. This goes back to last season. I think it was like the episode before we did the finale, and it was something in there that I saw, and I made a distinction, or the text made a distinction. I identified that distinction between the traditions and what the Most High actually want, even though he allowed it. I think Shema also piggybacked off that and spoke about that too. There are certain traditions that Israel has that the Most High allows. Even it was talking about like the sacrificing, I think was in there. It was some other stuff that was in there too, but it wasn't like it was a requirement for him, but it was actually for them. It's kind of like how it says the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath type of deal. So it's things that caters to mankind with the Most High, but it's not necessarily. It wasn't established for them necessarily. It was more. They wasn't established for it, meaning that it's not a thing that has to be upheld because it was made or you were made to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like being fruitful and multiply. We were made to do that. So that's something we have to do. But the Sabbath was made for man to rest. It was made for them for their betterment, so to say. So 15 through 18, with that, what I read and what's coming to pass, it shows a shift in tradition, which is okay, because back then it was all about that Ark of the Covenant. The Most High showed them how to make it, so it wasn't nothing wrong with them having it. Now, it didn't help them. They took it a little too far when they took it to battle with them, thinking that's what it was all about, and they was going to get victory because that was, like, I guess, the Most High to them. And the Most High showed them that that ain't what that was. That thought or that concept was not legit. So that was shown. But we see different shifts in the tradition that is not the Most High obviously don't have a problem with, because this is being prophesied that this is what they're going to do. You don't see anything after that saying, and they're going to be punished because they don't have the Ark of the Covenant no more. And then this also shows you that, if people trying to bring back an ark or something like that, they're not in line with what Yedidyah said, that the people mindset would change. Because that's what I see, is the tradition, meaning that they realize that, hey, this is not really, this doesn't matter like that. When you go from an old mindset that, this is the Most High, let's take it to battle so we can win. That's what we need. So that means there's a shift, and this is a shift after they returned, meaning that they actually repented and the Most High brought them back. So this is a better mind state in my mind. And that's all I got. Go let Sister Hokma in. Shama, if you want to say anything before that, it's all on you. I render. That's all I got for this chapter.
Yeah. Said some good stuff. We got a lot. I say to you that's listening, man, just stick with us this season. I got a few things I want to speak on rest show wise, like you remember Yedidyah, I sent you a few things on the whole scenes things which we already knew about, but it's some things that was brought out. I'm not sure how much you watched or checked out or researched on it, but it's funny that you said something about allowed. I allowed you to do this, but this is not what it was. There's a reason for me allowing you, and it's a topic that I might want to bring out, maybe. And it kind of answers a lot of questions that's being put out there in all the type of communities that adhere to or read or observe or research or whatever the literature that we have today. And, of course, the Brit Kadashah as well. But New Testament as well. I don't have anything to add. I'm bringing Sister Chachma or Chochma. She said Chachma in. I say that because me and Yedidyah be always messing with the name. Bring you in right now and allow you to say whatever you have. Here you go. You are live.
Let's see here. Well, Jedediah kind of went where I was trying to ask the question, was about as far as the sacrifices in the scripture you had read, and he said, he's a forgiving and merciful Father, but remember your sins. And so my question was about regarding, how they started doing animal sacrifices and, building their altars. And however, I do know that he never wanted those things because all he wanted was obedience in the first place. So my question is regarding the sacrifices and the blood rituals and, that they started doing, and he allowed those things. But did those things really cover their sins?
Who you want to answer that?
I don't. Hey, y'all sister done got mad. Yeah.
I mean, I can answer it. I mean, Shema, I don't know if you got something to say for it. I can.
Come on, variable and political.
Go ahead. I'll let you. Well, wait, what'd she say? I'll let you answer first.
Come on, variable and political.
Oh man.
Okay, so the political stance. Okay, so for me, and everybody might not agree with this, which is fine. But this is me. When I read this book and I look at things, just knowing how people are, There's a process. We all go through this process. I'm not going to say that Abraham, let's just take him, I'm not going to say Abraham is any different than me or Chokmah or Shama and Yedidyah. We're all human beings. We all have our journeys. We've seen Abraham's journey through reading the literature. We've seen this. I don't think a lot of people take this in consideration. I'm just a very observant person, very analytical, and there's a certain way that my mind works. So as I'm going through these things and I'm looking at all these things, and I see that they are very, very human as I am, and that's the beauty of this literature. And if you're not thinking that, then I think you're putting yourself at a very disadvantage. So I look at it from that standpoint, and looking at it in that standpoint, I know this sounds very political how I'm breaking this down, but you'll appreciate it in the end. But as I look at that, I look at the things, I look at the mistakes, I look at the seeking, I look at the growth in understanding and growth in wisdom. Even those that believe that Yeshua, let's just say, I didn't want to go here, but I feel like this is where I'm being led. I have to say this. For those that believe that he just came out the sky and possessed the body, or he's Yah in the flesh, or whatever you want to say, for those that take that stance, even it says that, if you following that, it says that he grew in knowledge, grew in understanding. I don't know a God that has to do that. So, or whatever, that has to grow as a human being to understand these things. So just taking that, I believe everybody does that. All human beings grow in understanding, grow in knowledge. We're still on a journey of understanding. We're still on a journey of knowledge. We're still on a journey of learning this culture, learning this Elohim. And so with that said, I take things such as Abraham taking his son to a mountain and getting ready to sacrifice him. That was not of, you don't see that. Where else do you see that? But it say the Most High told him to sacrifice his son, but then all of a sudden he changed his mind. An angel came out. I believe, okay, I'm getting into my beliefs, so take it with a grain of salt. I believe that when people wrote stuff, they wrote it from their perspective of what they believe happened. You've heard me make certain comments to this effect, and you asked me questions about it. But there's certain things I believe in this book that was culturally and individually established that wasn't necessarily what the Most High told him to do. Because just the fact of what you hear later on in narratives like what I just read, if you only turn back, that's not the concept that we was reading before. That is not according to what is set up. The whole Levitical system and all this stuff like that. I believe there are certain things that's on one side religion, and on the other side is reality. And that's why I always go with reality over religion. And not to be long-winded, so I'm going to bring this to a close. Sacrificing, addressing directly, I don't think that is a requirement of the Most High. I think that was a systematic thing that was set up, just like we have systems set up today that we say is of God, but when you go in the book, you don't see it. people make up systems and attribute it to God. And that's my take.
Oh, y'all waiting on me. Says Hakma, did that answer your question?
Sure, you can add to if you like.
So what was the thing that you called me? I couldn't hear it.
Mr.
Since
Variable.
he did the political. The who?
Mr. Variable.
Oh, Mr.
You know
Variable.
how you're variable?
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I'll take that. That's a deep question for me, and it is a lot of variables and perception involved in it. And I'm not going to go into it, honestly. I think he answered it. He brought some good points because we did see a lot of instances into as far as what he's speaking of. Those that's listening now that might be new online, wherever you at in the world, or if you're on right now. And I say online meaning listening back. And if you're on right now and you're new, some might not know exactly what he's speaking on. And I'm saying that to those that's been in the Word for years, too, because through this show, it's a lot of things that has been brought out contextually, consistently, and culturally that is not being taught today. Not to say we're bringing it out, because we're not bringing anything out. We're allowing the book to bring it out. So what he has said, it actually makes sense. To those that's really deeply rooted into this, it might even not say offend you, but it might be like, what y'all talking about? It's a lot in here when you go through it with no preconceived thoughts and allow it to teach you. So I don't really have anything to add because when I go into variables, it's different angles that I will point out and try to bring out objectively. But I like what he brought out. I hope that does not, and I don't think he did it, but, some things we say can deter some people, myself included, and I'm not saying that towards him. I'm just saying, like, if you don't have, if you haven't been following us for a very long time, anything that I can say, shoot, Sister Hakma, she been here from the beginning to Yedidyah, Jeff, unless you really get a summary of what's been brought, it can be like, wait, that sounds kind of weird, and it does. It does. I think I'm going to end it after this last thing I'm going to say. Yeah, I like what he said. Because, it does speak on, we're not there yet, so I'm not going to talk on what it speaks on, but we have been seeing that all he wanted us to do, turn back towards him. He didn't say turn back and start sacrificing towards me. I think Yedidyah read off and said, admit what you did. What verse was that? What verse was that? That I said it's hard to do. Recognize
your sin, or recognize your transgression, or
your transgressions or sins or whatever you did. Recognize it. He didn't say go back and do sacrifices. He said recognize it and repent. Now, some will bring in variables of, well, repentance was a form of sacrificing. Well, yeah and no. We can pull out instances where it just says turn away. Start doing the righteousness in which I put it forth. Keep my commandments. So with that being said, that's it. That's all I got. I'm not gonna rant. That's it.
Yeah, I believe it can go deep, because then there becomes, okay, well, what's his commandments and which ones, since we see sacrificing as a commandment, but you got to be able to discern these things, and that's something I guess maybe in the future we can address. I know people want to know, but for instance, just like I believe we had a conversation. This is the last thing I'm gonna say about it, but I just want to give a vintage point for people that haven't been following along, and also so they can have a clearer picture of what I'm saying. So, for instance, the people asked for a king. Now, there was commandments set up for the king after they asked for it, but we know that the Most High didn't want them to have a king. He said that.
Boom.
But yet we see all this stuff about kings. So he allowed a king, but he's saying, I was your king. You know, he took offense to that. But he allowed it to happen. You know, but it doesn't mean that it's of the Most High. And his commandments set up for it. Or what they got to do. But would the Most High be mad if they stop having a king? I wouldn't think so, because he didn't want it in the first place.
Wow.
But that was man's decision to want a king. Or that was Israel's decision to want a king, other than the Most High. So, the first sacrifice is in the book of Bereshit. We don't see no commandment there. Now, do we?
Right.
But we see it in action of them doing it, and we see the Most High accepting it. But did he ever tell them to do it in the first place? That's the question we got to ask ourselves. And I'm going to end with that.
That's good. All right, Sister Chachma, did you have anything to add? And if not, just let me know.
No, y'all shouldn't have been gone so long because I had a whole bunch of rush show topics. So, nope, I'm digress with this and carry on with y'all next 30-some minutes that you have. But, no, thank you.
All right. We might not go for
y'all.
the last 22 minutes. We don't have to do that no more. But anyway, all right. Yedidyah, I'm done, man. Did you have anything else to add? And we can do closing statements, and then we can have our closing outro.
Yeah, man, I ain't have anything. We could roll right into the closing statements, man. So I get it started and let you follow, and then get the prayer going. So I just want to say, man, today was a blessed show in my eyes. You know, I feel like a lot was said, but all that was said was necessary. I think I feel like it was very edifying. A lot of things that was put out there. I enjoyed the questions that was asked. I pray that nobody took anything that was said the wrong way. And what I mean by the wrong way is that what it was not intended to be said for. You know, I try to be as real as I can. I always speak what I'm feeling led to say. My intent is never to offend anybody, but if people are offended, I just pray that it's taken in love, taken in from a standpoint of, okay, this is just this man's belief, this is what he sees, this is what he is expressing, and take it with a grain of salt. Nothing that I say is set in stone. I always looking at it objectively. Even after I say it, you know, I could come back and make the correction if I see something different later on. So that's just where we at. I do want to say thank everybody for tuning in. I also want to say I would like to encourage everybody to try to read the material that we're going to go over ahead of time. Bring any questions of things that you saw that you might not feel like you fully grasped the concept of what was being said. We could address those if the Most High has blessed us with the knowledge and understanding of those questions. I will not try to answer something that I don't think I understand. So I want that to be understood. If I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know. And lastly, If you all been following, me and Shama has a new single that's looking to drop. We want to drop it today, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the minor corrections that I needed to make for the song after it was sent back to me. But if I am, the Most High wills it, it will be dropping this evening. But if not, in my mind, Sunday. We definitely will drop it Sunday if the Most High allows that. But that's what I'm pushing for, no later than Sunday. So be on the lookout for that. The song is entitled Hebrew Love, and I think y'all going to enjoy it. That's all I have. Shalom.
All right. Good stuff. I'm not going to say too much more. Appreciate everything said. And definitely, hope the song does drop today because I'm off tonight. So, I get to see what everybody is going to say. I'm going to be asleep tomorrow about 2 p.m. Before I go to work. So, no pressure. The song is hot. I mean, if you liked this intro, I believe you're going to like the next song, too, and we get to see a different side to Yedidyah on our Hebrew Love, by the way, people. You already know my side. And a lot of you found out my other side on the previous intro songs we did for the other season, doing the rapping side of it. But most of you know my singing side. So it's going to be interesting, man. I hope that you all check it out. We have our project, Really Listen, that should be dropping around blowing of the trumpets, hopefully. That's why we, I think it goes well. Really listen, blowing on the trumpets. Yeah. But I'm excited, man. I'm so excited for y'all to hear what we have. Stay tuned. I love what the Most High is doing with us on this side of the fence, along with what we're doing during the show with all of you family. That being said, I don't have anything extra. You can, I don't know if any of you have a Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Shama, Shama, Talmido, Talmido. I'm more on there than Facebook. You can find me on Facebook at, I think you could just type in Rofe, Rofe, Shama Talmido. I'm on there a little bit now, mainly because of what me and Yedidyah is doing musically and, things pertaining to the show. But I'm more frequent on Twitter. So, with that said, we're just going to go ahead and play the outro. And you all be safe. Enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. We love you and can't wait to meet up with you soon. Oh, one more thing. I will be letting you all know when the segment starts with the Shakum Elohe Livnot, Divine Restoration to Build segment that I have. I think you all should definitely tune into that. That's going to be things pertaining to how we can build each other in different instances, whether it's relationships, whether it's us as a people, whether it's economics, things of that nature, fitness, anything, that's the purpose, is just to build and be back to our regular selves. And then look out for manifesting the music with Yedidyah. I think he said he's doing that maybe once a month right now at the moment. I'm sure he's going to keep you all posted on that. So that's it. Shalom to you all. Abba Shel HaShamayim, Father of the heavens, Anu Modim Lecha, we thank you, Lifkishtenu Beyom Shabbat, for bringing us together on this Saturday, Alakod Achad Lelimod Et Hamilah Shelcha Ve'et Haderachim Shelcha, on one accord to learn your word and your ways. Alki Anu Modim Lecha, אנחנו יהיה ברח השם שלך, אמן. For that we thank you and we bless your name. Amen.